And that was The Feeling of Love by Anichiria right here on The Art of Lush, Lush 99.5. It is about 12:05 and I'm joined in the studio with a very, very special guest. She is all about one of my favorite loves. I love chocolate. And I love dark chocolate. So to have this guest in the studio with me is really quite a treat. Work perk, I would tell you. Her name is then Chui Foong. She is the Artisan Chocolatier of Jewels. It's right here at Orchard Central. It's right next to the Lush studio. Sometimes I must say, Chui Foong, it's very hard for me to concentrate because when I go outside, they have an open kitchen and you can actually see them creating the works of art. Very distracting. It's always on my mind. I come back to the studio, I'm supposed to be focusing on my show, but then I'm thinking about, I would like to try that and try that. In the ideal situation, I would love to just stand out there and observe because it's quite fascinating, the amount of detail, the amount of skill, knowledge that goes to creating every piece of chocolate, even the simplest truffle or, a dark chocolate bar, the kind of detail that goes into it is really quite fascinating. So, Chui Foong, tell me a little bit about, we have a lot of chocolate stores here, even the fact that you can walk into cold storage, for example, pick up like say an 85% cocoa, right, percentage of chocolate bar, for example. But what sets Jewels apart from the rest?
Okay, the difference of Jewels Artisan chocolate is basically what we are doing is using all the premium chocolates and all the fresh ingredients to create the best product that we can present. And chocolate is meant to be enjoyed very, very fresh.
Oh, yeah, I like the idea of that. And of course, little do people realize this. I think it's the fact that each of your works of art, the look of it, the smell of it, it kind of engages all five of your senses. The eyes are engaged because it's really a work of art. Little details of how the little elements are placed, even within, you order like a chocolate cake, for example. It really is a work of art. So I think it's right that you've called yourself the Artisan Chocolatier. It's really, really fantastic. So, interesting. I spent some time with Chui Foong yesterday. I went over and, got her to teach me just a little bit to take me through the process of how she creates all these works of art with chocolate. And it was such a fun time. And I also learned a very interesting story, kind of a full circle journey about how you went off the path slightly, but now you're back really firmly on you're devoting your whole life, I would say, to being an artisan chocolatier. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, it's very interesting when you start with learning the trade and making of chocolate, and it's not easy to actually get someone to actually guide you in making of chocolate. And until a stage of my career, I will have to really get people to recommend me to move overseas and then to work in Belgium, Paris, and also in London. And then when I come back to Singapore, it's not easy to work as a chocolatier.
Because people don't quite understand
Yes.
the skill sets and what's really involved in what you're creating, right?
Yes. So I have to start working as a pastry chef before I have the opportunity to really express my love or to prove the skill.
As a chocolatier.
Yes.
That's quite interesting because I think we kind of take for granted that these are the very real challenges. And you mentioned before that 10 years ago when you first embark on actually training out to be a chocolatier, back then there was really no knowledge. There was no school, there was no institution. There weren't all these basic foundations, these skill sets that you could pick up, but nobody was really teaching it. You had to kind of find your way through it, do a lot of experimentation, I believe, and even up till today you are still fine-tuning and experimenting on various techniques. Am I right?
Yeah, we are still trying out a lot of different ways. I think there is always a technique to be created, and at the end of the day, but it's still the original and the tradition that lead us to the way.
Yeah, I think that's important because wherever, however far you innovate, it's always based upon a very firm foundation to
Yes.
the origins of food. Chui Foong is really nice. Today she came over and the studio smells wonderful today because it's all floating with these The smell of chocolate is in the air. I really wish this could translate over the airways. But in a while, she's brought some really lovely treats for me to try. She's going to take me through the process of appreciating fine chocolate, fresh ingredients. So stay tuned for that and more right here on The Art of Lush, Lush 99.5.
Lush, Lush.